Holy cow, guys. Netflix, that's my baby. I made like $20,000 from Netflix, but after the earnings report, they dropped 25%. And for most options sellers, you'd be looking at that as a great opportunity to sell puts. And even I, at first glance, was thinking about that. Like, this is awesome. Netflix is near some pretty decent, like, 2-year lows. But the more I thought about it, this is not the opportunity that you want to be selling puts on. Like, there's just so much potential for this to go further south. And just want to caution you guys. So what happened with Netflix? Well, basically, they came out and said that they lost 200,000 of their subscribers during the first quarter. And unfortunately, people that buy Netflix shares are investing for growth. So the fact that you're losing subscribers means you're not growing. So people that tend to buy that stock are selling out to get out. And this is just aftermarket. The volume is insane right now. People that don't know how to trade aftermarket are going to be holding bags come tomorrow. It's going to be ridiculous. So anyway, they lost 200,000 subs, which is horrible because that's going to scare away the growth investors. But the big issue I had is like they were telling their subs that, or their shareholders, that they were going to actually predicted that they would grow like 200 or 2.7 million. So that's a pretty big swing. And like this article goes on to say that they're blaming some outside forces such as the war, Russia, inflation. Like, I don't want to see you pointing the finger elsewhere. Like, tell me, what are you going to do to solve the issue? And they didn't share that in the earnings. Like, they don't have a plan, it sounds like. But it's just a crazy thing right now. Earnings per shares, yeah, they won on earnings per shares. But again, the number one thing that growth investors are looking for is growth. And this does not show you growth. And that's because, well, quite frankly, Netflix was a great play during the pandemic while the world was closed. People didn't have anything else to do, so they're buying Netflix subscriptions. Now that the world is opening up, people that don't really care about Netflix that much are selling and stopping their subscriptions, and that's why you're seeing this growth kind of stall out here. They did point that they think that there's a lot of household sharing going on that they're going to start cracking down on, and there's probably quite a few people that if they started doing that would just stop doing Netflix altogether. Like, I know people that pay that keep their Netflix subscription going just for the fact that they share it with like their sibling or something. Anyway, let's kind of jump back to why this is bad for Netflix. If we look at the charts here, let me switch here. Sorry about that. Look at the charts as an options seller. You see it at like 52-week lows, or actually, I think this is 2-year lows right here. Let me switch this to 2-year lows for 1 second. 2 years, we're below the low here, and you think this is the bottom, and then this happens, and it jumps down to 260. And just right now, and even looking 2 years back, we don't have a plan on what's going to happen with the Netflix stock. So I don't have like a volume indicator that will tell me where's a safe spot to sell a put at, because it hasn't been down here in that long. And I fear that even though this is the low for 2 years, it has a lot more room to go down. Because your growth investors are leaving, your value investors are not going to jump in until Netflix gets down to like 185. Whew. It's just a disaster to get caught. So just be careful if you're thinking about selling a put on Netflix after the earnings. Like, just stay cautious, guys, okay? In fact, you have to go back 5 years to get any kind of information from the volume profile. And even then, if we look, it's trading at 260 right now. Going back 5 years worth of volume, like, we're at the bottom of a peak here. What happens on the peak on the volume profile when that gets breached? It jumps down to the next peak. That's 190? Don't be selling inputs unless you want to get down below that level. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm also a little concerned because this is just kind of like your first big tech earnings thing here. If we look next week, we have a lot of tech companies coming up. We have Microsoft, PayPal, Amazon, Apple, like a lot of stuff coming up. And if any of these start tanking down as well, Netflix is just going to use it as a catalyst to go down even faster. And I don't think like good earnings for these guys are going to help bring Netflix back up as much. But bad news from these guys are going to help Netflix go down. So I feel like there's a lot of potential for Netflix to go a lot lower than it currently is. Although it just feels too volatile for me to be playing options on, which is too bad because I really love playing options on Netflix. Yeah. I don't know what to say, guys. I hope nobody was in Netflix. If you did sell a put on Netflix, I hope you can roll it out in time for a credit, but it's going to be tough because the dance floor has changed significantly overnight, and I think you might be chasing it further down as well. So if you're on puts on Netflix, see if you can roll it, or maybe just accept the loss and get out, because I feel like this can really drop a lot more. Like the value investors will not come in until it gets back down to like the 180 range. So that's still another 80 points for it to drop, and just don't go bull on it right now is all I'm gonna say. Like there's potential for a small gap up tomorrow when the market opens, but like I just don't see it. Like the growth investors are fleeing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to hear more. I don't usually do individual ticker videos like this, but the news was just too big to not make one. And I fear that a lot of people that kind of follow the trading that I do would see this as a huge opportunity to sell an option. And I didn't want them to do it and then get caught with their hand in the cookie jar here, because I feel like Netflix is a trap waiting to happen on either end. I don't know which way it's going to go. I just see a lot of potential for it to go down. So there you go, guys. Hope you guys stay safe this week, and see you next time.